selling your property and feeling overwhelmed by paperwork. You're not alone. Hey, welcome to Ask Quality Conveyancing, where we answer your most common property questions. In this video, we'll walk you through how to complete the TA6 Property Information Form. The TA6 is a detailed property information form completed by sellers to give buyers important information about the property, from boundaries and services to environmental risks and occupiers. You're not expected to be an expert. You just need to answer honestly and based on what you know. Let's get started. We start on page 1. Here, you'll fill in the full property address, including the postcode and the full legal names of everyone selling the property. Make sure the names match the title deeds exactly. You'll also add your solicitor's details if you have them at this stage. Once that's done, we move into the main sections. Section 1 covers boundaries. This is simply about who owns or looks after the boundaries around the property. When you're facing the property from the road, you'll be asked about each boundary: the left, the right, the rear, and the front. For each one, you can select whether it's the seller's responsibility, the neighbour's, shared, not known. And if you're unsure, choosing not known is completely acceptable. You'll also be asked whether any boundary features have moved in the last 10 years, whether you've bought any neighbouring land, or whether any part of the property overhangs next door. Just answer based on what you're aware of. There's no expectation to guess or investigate beyond your own knowledge. Section 2 covers disputes and complaints. This is about any disagreements you may have had with neighbours, for example over noise, parking, or boundaries. Even if the issue was resolved a long time ago, it still needs to be mentioned here. Being open and upfront helps avoid problems later on and keeps the sale moving smoothly. Section 3 covers notices and proposals. This is where you'll confirm whether you've received or sent any letters or notices that affect the property. These could be from the council, a neighbour, or a government department. You'll also be asked whether you're aware of any planned developments nearby, for example, new buildings or extensions. Just answer based on what you know. Section 4 covers alterations, planning, and building control. This is one of the most important parts of the form, so take your time here. You'll first be asked whether any building work has been done, things like extensions, loft or garage conversions, removing internal walls. If you've had any building work done, just tick yes and give a short description of what was done, along with an approximate date or year. Doesn't need to be exact, a rough time frame is absolutely fine. Next, you'll be asked about change of use, which simply means whether a space was used for something different. For example, a garage turned into a living room, an office turned into a bedroom. If that applies to you, just tick yes and briefly explain what the space was originally used for, what it was changed into, and roughly when that happened. You'll then be asked about any replacement windows or doors installed since 2002, things like double glazing or bifold doors. If you've had any replaced, just tick yes and add the approximate year they were installed. If you have certificates like Fencer or Certus, these simply show the work was done properly, but don't worry if you don't have them. Just share what you know. And if a conservatory was added at any point, include roughly when it was built and whether it's attached to the property or separate. If work was carried out during your ownership, you may be asked for supporting documents like planning permission, building regulations approval, completion certificates. These just prove the work was approved. If permission wasn't needed, that's fine, just explain why. And if you're not sure, don't guess. Say not known and speak to your solicitor. Next, the form asks whether solar panels have been installed. If they have, just confirm roughly when they were put in, whether you own them outright or if the roof or airspace has been leased to a solar provider. This is important because roof leases can sometimes affect mortgage lending, so buyers need that clarity up front. Next, you'll confirm whether the property is a listed building, which simply means it's legally protected because of its historical or architectural importance, or whether it's in a conservation area where planning rules tend to be a bit stricter. If it is, just tick yes and attach any relevant documents you have, such as listing paperwork, conservation area notices, or related permissions. Planning rules are usually stricter in these areas, so it's important that buyers are aware from the start. Finally, you'll be asked whether any trees on the property are protected by a tree preservation order. If they are, confirm that you've complied with the order and attach any paperwork if you have it. Even if something feels minor, it's always better to disclose it now than risk delays later. And if you're unsure about any part of this section, your solicitor or the Quality Conveyancing support team is there to help. Section 5 covers guarantees and warranties. This is where you'll list any guarantees or warranties that apply to the property. For example, damp proofing, windows, roofing, electrical work, or the heating system. If you have copies of any of these, you can attach them here. Section 6 covers insurance. Here, you'll confirm whether the property is insured and whether there have ever been any unusual conditions, refused insurance, or past insurance claims. Section 7 covers environmental matters, things that could affect the property, such as flooding, radon gas, energy efficiency, and Japanese knotweed. Japanese knotweed is an invasive plant that spreads very quickly and can cause damage to buildings, drains, and foundations if it isn't properly treated. It's not always obvious above ground, which is why buyers need to know if it's ever been present. The first question asks whether any part of the property has ever flooded. This doesn't just mean the building itself, it also includes the garden or any surrounding land. If you tick yes, just explain roughly when the flooding happened and which areas were affected. For example, the garden only, the ground floor, the driveway, or a basement. If you've answered yes, you'll then be asked what type of flooding it was. If you're not sure, choose the closest option or speak to your solicitor. Next, the form asks whether a flood risk report has ever been prepared for the property. Tick yes if you commissioned one yourself or if one was provided when you bought the property, and attach a copy if you have it. If no report exists, simply tick no. Next, the form asks about radon testing. Radon is a naturally occurring gas found in certain areas of the UK, and in high levels it can be harmful, which is why it's checked. You'll be asked whether a radon test has ever been carried out at the property. If a test was done, tick yes. If not, tick no. And if you're not sure, it's absolutely fine to tick not known. If you do tick yes, attach the radon test report if you have it, and confirm whether the result was below the recommended action level. You'll also be asked about radon remedial measures. This simply means whether the property was built with radon protection in place or whether any work was later done to reduce radon levels. If so, just disclose that here. Next is the Energy Performance Certificate, or EPC. Every property being sold needs to have one, and it simply shows how energy efficient the home is. If you have a copy of the EPC, you can attach it here. If it's already been given to your estate agent or solicitor, just tick Already Supplied. And if you don't have it yet, that's okay. Simply tick to follow. The form then asks about the Green Deal scheme. This is simply checking whether any energy-saving improvements at the property, such as insulation or heating upgrades, were paid for using Green Deal finance. If that applies, tick Yes, briefly describe what was installed, and attach a copy of your most recent electricity bill. Finally, you'll be asked again about Japanese knotweed. If knotweed is present now, or if it was present in the past but has been treated, tick yes. If you're confident it's never been there, tick no. And if you're unsure, it's absolutely fine to tick not known. If you do tick yes, confirm whether there's a management or treatment plan in place and attach any paperwork you have, such as a treatment plan or an insurance-backed guarantee. Being open about environmental matters helps protect both you and the buyer and can prevent delays later on. And if you're unsure about any answer, choose Not Known and speak to your solicitor or your Quality Conveyancing support team for guidance. Section 8 covers rights and arrangements. This is where you'll declare anything that's shared with neighbours, such as shared access, rights of way, or shared services like drains or driveways. If you're not sure whether something applies, it's absolutely fine to select Not Known. Section 9 covers parking. Here, you'll simply describe the parking arrangements at the property. For example, whether there's a driveway, a garage, or permit or on-street parking. Section 10 covers other charges. If there are any charges linked to the property, such as management company fees, these should be disclosed here. Section 11 covers occupiers. This is where you let us know who currently lives at the property, including anyone aged 17 or over. And if the property is being sold with vacant possession, meaning it will be completely empty on completion, just make sure that's clearly stated here. Section 12 covers services, basically the things that keep your home running. This part can feel a bit technical, but don't worry. You're not expected to be an expert. You're simply being asked to share what you know and provide certificates if you have them. The first question asks whether the electrical installation has ever been tested by a qualified and registered electrician. If you've had an electrical safety check or you have an electrical installation condition report, often called an EICR, you can tick yes. If no testing has been done during your ownership, just tick no. If you tick yes, you'll be asked to state roughly when the test was carried out and to attach a copy of the certificate if you have it. And if the test was done before you bought the property and you don't have any paperwork, that's okay. You can select Not Known. Next, you'll be asked whether any electrical work has been carried out since January 2005. This includes things like rewiring, new circuits, or major electrical upgrades. If you tick yes, you'll need to provide one of the following: an electrical safety certificate, a building regulations compliance certificate, or a building control completion certificate. If you don't have these documents, don't panic. Your solicitor can advise you on the next steps. This section then moves on to the central heating system. You'll simply tick yes if the property has central heating, or no if it doesn't. If it does have central heating, just state the type. For example, gas, oil, or electric. No technical detail needed. You'll also be asked when the heating system was installed. And if it was installed on or after the 1st of April 2005, you'll be asked to attach a gas safe certificate, previously known as Corgi, or a building control completion certificate. Next, you'll be asked whether the heating system is in working order. Simply tick yes if everything works as expected, or no if there are any known issues. You'll then be asked when the system was last serviced or maintained. Just provide the year, and if you have any service records, you can attach those too. The form then moves on to drainage and sewerage. First, you'll be asked whether the property is connected to mains drainage. You'll answer yes or no for both foul water drainage and surface water drainage. If the property is connected to both, you can skip ahead. There's no need to answer any further drainage questions. If not, the form will ask about private drainage. This is where you'll confirm whether the property uses a septic tank, a sewage treatment plant, or a cesspool. You'll then be asked when the system was last replaced or upgraded. Approximate dates are absolutely fine, and if you don't know, you can tick Not Known. Next, you'll confirm whether the drainage system is shared with other properties. If it is, just state roughly how many properties share it. You'll also be asked when the system was last emptied. Again, an approximate date is perfectly acceptable. If the property has a sewage treatment plant, you'll be asked when it was last serviced. Just provide the most recent year if you know it. You'll then be asked when the system was originally installed. If you know the year, include it. If not, tick Not Known. Finally, you'll be asked whether any part of the drainage system, or access to it, sits outside the property boundary. For example, if pipes or soakaways run onto neighbouring land. If so, you may be asked to attach a simple plan showing the location. Remember, Section 12 is about sharing practical information, not proving that everything is perfect. If you're unsure about any answer, it's completely fine to say Not Known and ask for advice. Honest answers here help avoid delays and build trust with the buyer. Section 13 covers utilities. This section is simply about confirming which utilities are connected to the property. Nothing technical at all. If you're unsure about any of the answers, just tick Not Known. Being honest here helps avoid delays later on. Section 14 covers transaction information. This is where you'll confirm the final details about the transaction, your moving arrangements, and then sign the form. Make sure all sellers sign and date the TA6. That part's really important. And that's it. The key thing to remember is this. Be honest, don't guess, and say Not Known if you're unsure. Completing the TA6 properly helps your sale move smoothly and protects everyone involved. If you're stuck at any point, speak to your solicitor or your quality conveyancing support team. We're here to help. Thanks for watching Ask Quality Conveyancing. Follow for more simple property tips to keep your move stress-free.